Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Rob McPress, journalist, and let me put this in my pocket because I'm going to need it because this is Bronx Week. Bronx Week goes on till Sunday the 15th, where we have that beautiful parade on across Marshall Parkway. We have a food festival and then a concert by the borough president, which is terrific. And this is the first year in the past 2 years because of the pandemic that we're having it. And unfortunately, today, I will not be here the whole show. We're either going to shorten it to 45 minutes or my co-host will take over because I have to go see Mayor Adams in Little Yemen for one of the Bronx Week events. And then tomorrow, don't forget, there's Fashion Week at Bay Plaza Mall at 2 p.m. And let me have my co-host introduce himself. Anthony, are you there?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. I am the designated co-host for the show. As Mr. Press indicated, we're going to have a shortened show tonight. I should say this afternoon. I will be hosting the end of the show. Mr. Press is going to go see Eric Adams and do some tap dancing with him during Small Business Week. Hopefully, they'll buy Meatball Heroes at Morris Park and talk about national politics before we talk about Bronx Week. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 lives. My first life is that I am an income tax and financial advisor, still recovering from income tax season. My second life is I am a adjunct professor at Herbert H. Lehman College and Monroe College, a public and private university here in the city of New York. And my third life, which brings me to this audience, is I am the founder of a lovely political organization in the Northwest Bronx called Northwest Bronx Democrats.
No, you finished?
Hey, Rob, you got traffic?
No. I mean, the introduction was so long. I mean, I didn't get much sleep last night. But all right, let's go right into our show. Anthony and I were talking the other night about the Ukraine situation, comparing it to Vietnam. And we're now seeing dead Russian soldiers being shown on TV. And it seems like Russia is withdrawing a little bit, Anthony. Is that correct?
Well, according to recent reports, it sounds like not only has Russia re-engineered their strategy moving to the east, but it sounds like, again, according to reports, that strategy might not have been the best strategy to attain. It sounds like Russian troops are moving back. Russian troops are sadly being killed, like many other innocent people and other troop members. And I think what has been reported in the last 24 hours is that Putin is going to try to find some way to declare victory before the end of this weekend's Russian Victory Day march. And what I personally believe might happen is he's going to conquer what he believes he owns at this point and declare it victory.
How can he escalate the war? Is he going to throw a nuclear bomb on Ukraine or not? I know it's a big, hard question to answer, but that probably is the only way he can do it. Either blow up Chernobyl again, as it melted down, or just drop a bomb like we dropped on the Japanese during World War II to stop them from the war.
I really don't know how to answer that question, because the first thing that came to mind when you asked that question was there were reports this morning from the Ukrainian foreign minister that pretty much said there are many cities now in Ukraine that are just completely destroyed. So I don't understand, what else there would be to destroy when you have your own Russian minister pretty much saying there's nothing there, including living people. There's nothing there. Well, what else is there left to destroy? I'm not suggesting anything, but again, what reports are coming out in the last 24 hours.
I mean, didn't Russia learn from the United States in the Desert War that you send in special operation troops to take out the leaders, and then you convince the rest of the town to go with you, and then your soldiers march right in without any incidents? Or are they just still back in the World War I era where the Russian Revolution happened? That you just send.
Bob, I actually think it's a microcosm of New York City and Bronx politics. I actually think it's a microism of it. What I mean by that is that it's pretty hard to lead, right, the young generation when the young generation wants to be in charge, but they're not in charge. The old timers are in charge, and now we're seeing the prevailing state of our city and state. The average Russian general that you're referring to is probably the combined age of both of us divided by 2.
Right.
So, yeah.
But all right, let's move to something more that affects our people. Gasoline dropped under $4 a gallon, but now it's back over $4 a gallon. The stock market went up 900 points Wednesday, down 1,000 points yesterday. How's the market doing today? And let's get into Bidenomics and see what's happening with our economy.
Well, let me share a little Bidenomics with you before we go over any particular numbers. During the course of this week, we had several national economic events that took place. We had an interest rate rise of 50 basis points, a very high tick up during your traditional period of time. We also had first quarter productivity went down. First quarter productivity went down 7%. I don't remember if I said it on this show, but I might have said it on my show, Financial Focus University, where I broke down the GDP numbers and indicated that there was no productivity or investment spending, as we call it in macro terms, happening. And now recent reports from the federal government show we're at a first quarter productivity decrease of 7%. My biggest worry was later on this week, there were reports that labor costs, employment costs went up 11%, right? So we should know, you don't have to be in an economics class to know that part of GDP from the employer's point of view are labor costs, right? You have to add in the labor costs to get to the final end product. So if labor costs are going up 11%, hello inflation, right? We also had a report that said employment is still slowly rising, right? So you put that all together, right, and now combine it to the reports, and let's now talk about the numbers. And Bob, as you know, on our show, we have a wonderful index called the Bob Press Index. Let me share with you quickly. And again, remember, the market doesn't close till business day today. So, let me share with you some Bob Press Index numbers for the week, right? On Monday, the economy went up 0.8%. right? Now, Bob, add it up with me, right? Monday was 0.8. Tuesday, it went up 0.4, right? You're counting, right? That's 1.2, right? On Wednesday, it went up 2.8.
That's 4.
That's 4, right? Thursday, the economy went down, the stock market went down 3.9.
So we got 0.1 left.
Well, that's how the Bob Index is doing so far for the week. To answer your question today, well, the market is somewhat, I don't want to use the word happy, they're somewhat mixed. What I mean by that is that they're still scared from the events of yesterday, but economic reports like the employment report that still shows a little over 200,000 people are finding work on a weekly basis. Our numbers from an economic point of view is generally between 150 to 200,000 people per week applying for employment. So that number does show there are, again, according to these numbers, that there is still slightly growth. So I believe that the markets for the week will be flat. Right, we just counted.
Right,
but of course, if you pick up the newspaper, it's going to tell you, oh, the market went down 1 billion points. The economy it doesn't mean anything. The world's coming to an end. Right. End of the day, end of the week, we had a nice move up, like you said, nice move down, like you said. At the end of the week, flat.
Well, that's like the baseball teams. The Yankees right now can't be beat. The Mets are very good. They have to go into slumps sometime soon. And I don't wish it on them, but they just can't keep up this pace. Otherwise, they're going to win 150 games, and that's impossible.
No, but as I enjoyed the Met game last night with some friends over some economic beer, I said to them, and you're absolutely right. You have your ups and you have your downs, but of course. I'm a New York sports fan. What I mean by that is that whether it's the Mets or the Yankees, you want to enjoy a baseball season where during the whole course of those 6 months, you're in the race, right? You don't care if you're first or second, or even because of today's wild card standards, you could even be third, right? But you at least want to be in the mix. You don't want to be like the old Mets of yesteryear, where at the end of July, it was pretty much over. Right.
Well, Anthony,
both teams are starting at a very good pace.
You also own a stock. What is it? WWE. How is that doing?
Well, I can't do any promotions with WWE except to say 2 things. Of course, number one, I won't go into my own private portfolio, but just to say, generally speaking, the stock has actually held up pretty well. Based on how the market's been doing. I believe part of the reason why we'll find out this weekend. Anyone that's a wrestling fan knows that WrestleMania Backlash is coming on. I think some people that will watch it might be in for 1 or 2 surprises. As some people in our show know, I do know many wrestlers from my prior work in wrestling. So I think, again, I don't want to promote Vince McMahon's show, but I think people that will see the show, based on what I'm hearing, I think will enjoy the show. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why the stock, in relation to your question, is holding its own. It still has its ups and downs like the market.
But word is that after Backlash, there's going to be some people let go.
Yeah. Well, to answer that part, there has been a variety of changes, not just with the WWE roster, but also now currently
AEW,
many other rosters, which it leads to a multiple parade of both opportunities and concern.
Right, because the competitor AEW is running into problems as we spoke. They may not have a outlet to be broadcast on, correct?
That is changing literally by the day. Literally. I don't know if you've heard. I think it was announced Could have been 2 days ago. It could have been yesterday. I don't remember. But Warner Media, which is, of course, the organization that owns AEW, but now it's Discovery Warner Media, has announced that they are going to put broadcasted what they call a new AEW show. Now, my guess, and I'm only guessing at this point, but I think it's pretty obvious, that I believe this show will be Ring of Honor. That's my own belief. I could be wrong.
Anthony, I thought we might have Naked and Afraid wrestling.
Well, you know what? With Tony Khan, you might have anything.
You know, like Vince once tried. He had a match out in the middle of nowhere, remember? With The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, was it? You
know, as you know, again, I don't want to give away too much to the audience that are wrestling fans, but as you know, once every week or two, I sit down with some of my friends within the industry, and we were talking about the industry in general. You know, one of the sad things today is, you know, it's wonderful to see these main events on TV for nothing, you know. But then what happens, and it's starting to happen now in all organizations, that you get so much for free that you don't want to pay for something you've already seen. And that is now happening within all organizations.
Well, I've never paid a pay-per-view wrestling. I've never paid for it. But let's move on. Now, I want to go into a subject now.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a second. How come you've never paid for it?
I've never ordered it. That's why.
And why? But why? But why?
My cable bill is high enough.
Oh, I see.
Well, when I get it, that is. I haven't gotten one for 4 months.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch today's show at 5 p.m., Financial Focus University, not only will I show you how to clean up your credit report in 3 easy steps, not only will we have on 81st Assembly District candidate George Diaz to talk about his budget.
George Diaz.
But we're also going to show Bob maybe how to lower his cable bill.
George Diaz, didn't he almost beat Jeffrey Dinowitz 2 years ago?
The 81st Assembly candidate, George Diaz, is the same candidate 2 years ago that ran for the same seat, and I believe got between 35-40% against the incumbent, Jeffrey Dinowitz.
The long-term incumbent. And George didn't spend anything really either. It's just, you know, the anti-Dinowitz vote is getting larger and larger. But let's move on. Attorney General Letitia James warns us of scams, of people calling you or sending you emails, looking like things, and then requesting money from you. I received an email from Letitia James, the Attorney General, take my survey. Okay, fine. I took the survey. What is more important to me? What do I think the state needs to do? What about this? What about that? What about this? And the last part was, how much would you like to donate to my campaign? All right. Now, if that's not a scam, you tell me. I think maybe Letitia James needs to investigate herself on that. How can you say, take my survey and then ask for a donation to your campaign at the end? Right, Anthony? How many times have we seen that from elected officials where they say, take my survey and then they want to donate?
As far as seeing it goes, during an electoral season, I generally get them daily. Now, whether it's, you know, ethical or not, you know my answer to that. I mean, and I'm sure in 45 states out of 50, I'm sure it is unethical. But in 5 states, and one of those states being New York, it's pretty much, you know, whatever.
Well, but really, I mean, I was shocked. You know, I don't expect that from her. And next time I see her, I'm going to say something to her. And I will see her very soon because it's, as you say, it's electoral season.
And she'll say something to you too. She'll say, where's your donation?
I know her from when she was running for public advocate. That's how far back.
Please, I've known that young lady since she was a city councilwoman in Brooklyn.
Well, let's go into Kathy Hochul. Do we have anything good to say about Kathy Hochul?
Yeah, I wish she wasn't married.
Well, let's see. Let's go into our old Abbott and Costello routine.
Okay.
We had Brian Benjamin as lieutenant governor. So he was on first. Then he tried to steal second and got thrown out. All right. The U.S. attorney is investigating him. They indicted him on certain matters. And Brian Benjamin then said, well, I quit as lieutenant governor. How could Kathy Hochul pick somebody that was that bad? Didn't they check anything on him? They do any vetting on him? I can't believe it. And this is not something that happened, where he was lieutenant governor for years. But how long was he lieutenant governor? 4 months? 5 months?
Oh, I'm not even sure if 4 months is the right number.
I mean, who gave her Brian Benjamin? I mean, she came down. She wanted someone from New York City, a person of color. And he seemed to be the perfect person to run with her. And what the problem was, since he resigned, he was still on the ballot as her lieutenant governor. How does Kathy Hochul do it? She says, gee, I can't run with him as my lieutenant governor. It's going to make me look bad. I got to get him off the ballot. The only way to get off the ballot is to move out of the state, become nominated for a higher position, or die. And even if you die, you're still on the ballot, I believe. Okay, so who could change the election law? The New York State legislature. The assembly was all clear and quick. One assemblywoman from Brooklyn, here's the bill. Let's get him off the ballot. Although the state Senate said, and this is what was said, we will not change the law. So how did the state Senate vote to change the law? And they voted.
You know what? This little exercise in politics should have taught you two things. Number one, government could do anything. Boom.
Oh yeah, they can take a house tomorrow.
So you should never believe it's got to be.
No. But let me finish, Anthony.
It's got to be looked at. When government wants to do something.
Let me finish, Anthony.
And number two, of course, don't ever underestimate the power of the envelope.
Okay, but like I said, the state Senate was not going to do it.
Well, they wasn't going to do it because they didn't get enough envelopes.
No. Yeah, because Kathy Hochul gave Andrea Stewart Cousins the envelope when she came to Yonkers to visit public schools. She gave her, $50 million in different fundings that she didn't have there for the Yonkers public schools. Oh, look, I got all of this money for my public schools. Yes, Kathy, I'll now change the law. I'll vote, So when the Senate came, and I'll give two state senators credit, the DSA wannabes, Gustavo Rivera and Alessandra Biaggi voted against this. They had only Bronx people who had guts to vote against it, because we know Jamal Bailey is the county leader, and he says, vote for it. And you know what? I can't believe that she didn't pick Jamal Bailey as her second choice. She picked Congressman Antonio Delgado from upstate, where she is, and we now have an upstate ticket against the downstate ticket with Jumaane Williams and his lieutenant governor candidate, which people are gravitating to. I don't know how many people, you're going to see Governor Kathy Hochul, not with her candidate for lieutenant governor, but someone else from a different governor. And what's your opinion on that, Tony?
Sadly, I got several. As we found out this morning, we found out that while everybody was saying, it was good he picked a Puerto Rican, or she picked a Puerto Rican, as we found out this morning, he's not Puerto Rican, right? So you have people like Ruben Diaz Sr. that 2 days ago said, oh, we finally got a Puerto Rican in office, right? Well, Kathy pretty much said, no, you don't, right? So, how do I feel about an upstate ticket versus a downstate ticket?
Hey. 60% of the vote is a downstate.
Excuse me?
60% of the vote is a downstate now.
True. But I would venture to say that while Jamaane's lieutenant governor seems to be making a lot of strides, surprisingly, but still, moving forward, I'm not sure I've been reading the same powerful vibes with Jumaane Williams. I think what you could possibly be seeing happening is a split.
That's what I said. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lieutenant governor get more votes than a governor candidate on the same ticket, like Jumaane's lieutenant governor or even Tom Suozzi's lieutenant governor getting more votes than them, the governor candidates.
Possible.
All right. But what does the lieutenant governor do? Do you know?
I'm going to guess, Robert, that you went and did your appropriate research. And in doing that research, I'm going to guess you found 95 billion pages as to what he does.
Well, it's two simple things. From city and state, the short answer is little institutional power, mainly exists to step in should something happen to the governor. Now, according to the state constitution, the lieutenant governor presides over the state senate and will cast a tie-breaking vote should there be a tie in the state senate. The other duty serves as second in command to replace the governor should anything happen, as we have seen twice in our history right now, Anthony. And what was it been? Only about 10 years, 15 years? We've seen two lieutenant governors ascend to governor. One just didn't even try to get reelected. And this one, well, she's doing everything she can not to get reelected. Am I right on that?
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. I would say, and you sort of described it in a way. These titles are very good cheerleading type titles, but no governance type titles. It's almost like the vice president of the United States, right? But just a microism of, right? When you say that the lieutenant governor sits in the Senate. Well, here in New York State, what are they sitting in the Senate for, right? It's overwhelmingly Democratic, so we don't need anybody there to break no tie, right? So that power is basically useless, right? They have, can they advise? Sure, they can advise, but we have over 50 community boards in the city that are complaining they have no power because all they have is advice.
No, they don't know the power they have.
Advice. So basically they're just a cheerleader.
Yeah, well, community boards don't know the powers they have. Since we're a little short in this show, let's see if we can go to a commercial break right now, our halfway point, if we can. And then we'll discuss city issues.
Hey, sports fans! New York Parrot has come out with a great new show for you guys, Sports with Rich. Broadcast time 10 p.m. Tuesday evening. Rich Mancuso with Robert Rizzo as a co-host. Sports with Rich is captivating, informative, and entertaining, and it will pertain to all American sports such as soccer, football, basketball, baseball, athletics, wrestling, you name it. Get rich information from Rich Mancuso on Sports with Rich.
Okay, welcome back to Talking Politics. By the way, I have a blog that's very successful, 100% Bronx News.blogspot.com. It's 100 PERCENT.BLOGSPOT.com, COM. And what you'll see on there are many issues. For instance, I'm with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I find little crimes that people are being indicted for, or the district attorney, or like today, I'm going to be covering the event with Mayor Adams. I'll have that up on the blog as well as my other media outlets. But Anthony, let's talk something that's going to affect you and you personally. Oh, here's the shot of Letitia James. Unfortunately, we spoke about that already. Here is Kathy Hochul with her new Lieutenant Governor, Antonio Delgado. And, let's move on to city politics, Anthony. Very soon, your rent is going to go up, correct?
Well, not mine in particular, but many other people's will.
You're not in a rent-stabilized building?
I am, but my rent will not be affected during this time because I'm in between that renewal period.
Okay, so you took a 2-year lease last year then?
Correct?
Okay. Well, Mayor Adams is getting, really bad publicity on the police, what's happening with crime, and a couple other things. Now he's going to get he'll hear it from people in rent-stabilized buildings. Why, when Mayor de Blasio was in charge, we had no increases for many years. And I love that because I was in a rent-stabilized building in Riverdale. All right. Now the proposal is for 1-year leases, 2 to 4%, and for 2-year leases, 4 to 6%, which is a lot better than the 9% we were hearing at first. Do you think these new increases in rents are justified?
Robert, I'm going to answer that in 2 different ways. So I'm going to be on the Talking Politics show, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, Bob, it's a ripoff. We need rent freeze immediately. And now I'm going to get up, Bob, and I'm going to sit back down, and I'm on the set of Financial Focus University. And now I'm going to tell you, as a 31-year trained economist, be very happy, everyone. No one wants an increase. As Bob has indicated, and it is true, for the last 2 years, we were at 0. Your 1-year lease starting next year will be 3%. Your 2-year lease will be 5%. Today's rate of inflation is 7%. Be happy, everybody.
Okay, let's then go into local politics. We have a few minutes left since we have to basically talk about it. I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago that Kenny Augusto was running in the 80th Assembly District as the state committee man and in 78th Assembly District as judicial delegate. Well, Kenny saw me and said, gee, Bob, aren't we friends? I thought, I didn't expect this of you. And I said to him, well, Kenny, where do you live? In which district? Well, Kenny really didn't want to say anything, but if the assembly lines are thrown out, he can choose which district he wants to run in. Does he want to run in the 78th or does he want to run in the 80th? All right, depending on where he lives. All right, because I don't believe you can run for party positions out of the district you live in. I don't know. I'd ask Jamal Bailey, but he won't talk to me. What can I tell you? You're laughing, Anthony. Why is that?
Well, for 2 reasons. Of course, number one, because of what you just said. But I think number 2, political consultants, if I can use it that way, and as well as political lawyers, are really going to have a gangbuster year because you're going to wind up having a whole summer of elections. In June, you're going to have the state senate and gubernatorial elections, and then you'll have the Senate, the assembly election later on during that cycle. So you could be looking at up to 3 elections during the next 4 to 6 months, and not only will you be driving the U.S. mailman crazy or your mailbox crazy, but of course, political consultants and political lawyers will make billions during the summer.
What about those Board of Election employees who will be raking in the overtime? Okay.
Well, that's true, but you can't blame them. You can't blame them. If the powers that be say we're going to have 3 elections, well, then we need an apparatus to handle 3 elections.
Mm-hmm. And, what'll happen, the assembly lines aren't thrown out yet. And it would be everything, which would mean our good friend, Mr. Below Tremont Avenue, Dion Powell, would have to go out and get signatures again for his county committee position. Maybe Irene Estrada can get her petition straight if it's redone, as well as some of the other people who got thrown off the ballot. Since they know why they were thrown off the ballot, now they might be able to get their petition straight. What do you think, Anthony?
Well, without mentioning any particular names, because they're starting to come down now. I'm sure most people, especially inside politics, knows that many people now are starting to get thrown off the ballot. Some are for minor infractions, some are for some major infractions. That info will start to become more public as the days go on. And yeah, I think you're going to have a lot of re-petitioning to do. And of course, well, I can't say that the petitioners will make money because, some campaigns are very fruitful that way. Some campaigns are not.
Yeah, it's called volunteer, not paid to get. All right, and they're not allowed to pay you by signature. They have to pay you by the hour, which is now
Right.
$15
You
an
either
hour.
get paid by the hour or you turn into Kuta Kinte. One of the two.
But I mean, you're a master at collecting signatures. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, will people? I mean, also, what we're told is the requirement number for signatures will probably be cut in half. So it'll be a little easier to get more signatures, which will allow more candidates to get on the ballot. And as far,
Robert, as I said to you off the record, and I understand, we change as a nation every day. Notwithstanding COVID, which I know is a concern, of course. I'm very surprised with the petition process. I mean, should they lower the numbers, especially now, not just because of COVID, but because you're changing the whole schedule? Yes, I think that's appropriate. But the amount of signatures that I see coming in from these candidates versus, years ago when, our organization was doing it and, other organizations were doing it was simply like night and day. The old rule of thumb was you didn't want to get caught up in these minor infractions. So you would normally get 3 times the amount of the requirement. So if the requirement was 500, you get 1,500 to cover those minor infractions. And some organizations, my organization, Ben Franklin, years ago, were getting 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 during the cycle. So when I hear these numbers come in, 450, 6.25, I'm like, okay, I hope you can make the ballot, number one, because again, you need a certain amount to cover the, infractions, but just, that power strength. And as I try to share with you, a lot of people behind the scenes look at that as a sign of power strength. Whether you agree or disagree, that's how most people look at your strength. So when people come in with 500, 600 signatures, that's tough.
Oh, I know that because it's very easy to knock off signatures. Like you say, people have to come in with 2 or 3 times the number. All right, because I mean, I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I consider myself an expert on looking at petitions and seeing where things are wrong. So, I mean, I've looked at many petitions and said, well, they'll get you down to, say 700, where 1,500 were given in. What happens? They got the person down to 720. I myself worked for a person on a petition who it was over 3,000 signatures. We threw off 2,000. All right. And we had fraud, but the candidate didn't continue because, as you say, you have to go to court and it costs money in court. It starts off at $500 and go up to $5,000. And some of these candidates don't have that much money. And like you said, we're now in phase 3 of petitioning. The first phase is getting petitions and handing them in. The second phase is challenging petitions. And now you're in the court case petitioning, where your opponents will challenge you in court if they have the money. And who is that? That is most likely the incumbents who have the money because they're in office and they're connected to who, Anthony?
Oh, these days, Bob, here in New York City, they can be connected to anybody. They can be connected to elected officials. They can be connected to homeless shelters. They can be connected to anybody.
Right. And developers love to give money to people who they think is going to get into office. All right. Or turkeys at Thanksgiving. But Anthony, I'm going to have to get out of here. right now. Do you have anything else to say?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us. Again, we're making our show a little short this afternoon because Robert wants to try to make sure he gets there before Eric Adams. As I
And I'm
said,
going to need this.
I think he's rushing. I think Eric Adams will be late. But Bob wants to go to celebrate Bronx Week 2022 so he can have a wonderful dance with Vanessa Gibson, so he can try to enhance his qualifications for future electoral office. Take care, everybody. Happy Friday.
Wait a minute, Anthony.
Financial Focus University at 5 p.m. if you want to clean up your credit report. Bob, good luck.
We have still a few minutes, so tomorrow you're going to be at an event, I believe, at the Williamsbridge Oval.
Correct.
Bronx Week. It's called Health Day, where they're putting a roller skating rink in there, believe it or not. Then you're going to be at the Veterans Appreciation Breakfast on Monday, I believe.
That is correct. And Bob, let me just bring you back to Oval Park for a moment. Okay. They already have a skating rink.
They already have one?
Sure. We've had one for the last, 3-4 years.
What's that? The one from Van Cortlandt Park that they took out?
No.
Or it's a new one?
That was the one that we fought 15 years to finally get approved, and it got created and built 4 years ago. That's the one Vanessa Gibson wrote on that she was so thrilled about. She's the one that's promoting now the roller skating event.
Good. That's exercise. Because
absolutely.
I understand you're getting the electric city bikes by you, which you no longer have to use pedals. So all you do is you just start it and you drive away like these e-scooters. So you get no exercise, so you can get fatter sitting there on the bike. But there's a business luncheon on Tuesday, May 10th. There's a labor breakfast on Wednesday, May 11th. There's a community board appreciation event at Borough Hall on Wednesday also. And there's a banker's breakfast, which I believe you said you were going to on Thursday the 12th. And it all ends, it ends on the 15th with the Bronx Day Parade, the Bronx Day Food Festival, and the Bronx Day Concert. And where is that? That is right outside of Anthony's house. Anthony lives right off of Marshall Parkway. So come on down and say hello to Anthony at the Bronx Week Parade, Food Festival, and Concert. And that's it for me, Anthony. Any more from you?
No, but just to let our audience know, you're not going to be able to make all the Bronx Week events, but I would suggest anybody that wants to go to some of these events, you pick and choose which ones you think are appropriate. They are good for educational purposes. They are good for networking purposes. And then, of course, let's remember that Bronx Week was not created by our current borough president. This event goes back 2 decades. So we should thank the office of the borough president for creating Bronx Week, and of course, Vanessa for keeping it going.
And
are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, it's how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO,